What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki. If you haven't been here before, if you have, I'm just another brown girl in America. And today I want to get to it, but I do want to tell you I am so happy to be back. Sorry it took so long, but I was having computer issues, but we are together now, so it's all good. But what I want to do is finish on the local election that's going on today in the STL, St. Louis, Missouri, mayoral. And we also are kind of following a little bit. We'll touch on maybe the Alderman Ward 3 race too. But right now, I want to focus on the mayoral race because the last video we did an introduction about who the candidates were. The election was just kind of getting started. Wasn't a lot of information, but now they've had debates. I got a couple of clips I'm going to show you from there, and we're going to kind of talk about it. I'm going to give my commentary. Also have a few articles I want to touch on that's in here regarding crime and some issues. So we'll tie it all in together. I don't want to make this video long. So without further ado, let's get to it. So Miss Mayor Tishaura Jones and Cara Spencer. So we had Tishaura Jones, Cara Spencer, Michael Butler, and Andrew Jones. They were all running for mayor in the primary. We had the election the other day to see who was going to compete against each other. Now, it was all Democrats except for one, which was Andrew Jones, which was a Republican, a black man. Pretty cool. I met him, talked to him a couple of times. But, you know, they weren't going to give him a chance. Without further ado, though, now, if you remember last time, and if you're from St. Louis, you know, Cara and Tishaura went head-to-head last year. And Tishaura won by a little bit. Cara was right up there. Now, me personally, I believe it had something to do with all the, elevating Black people and women and all of that stuff. But I'm not going to get into that. That's neither here nor there right now. But what I will tell you, so they are the two. They are running again. But when I tell you Cara beat Tishaura, I think Tishaura was in like 33% or something like that. And Cara was at like 68%. So, yeah. But I do have some footage from them. So we're going to let you take a look at it and see what they have to say. And without further ado, we are going to go to, so I went to one of the debates. Actually, I went to two of the debates, but I didn't record at the second debate. I got a little snippets of some at the first one that I went to. So let's get this up here. Now, before I started, because I didn't get a chance to get the questions in the recording, but I was there. This is me recording. The question was, and it also happened to be my question because we were able to submit questions. What are we going to do about the crime in the neighborhood? We also have a food desert going on, a bunch of community stores leaving. Now, they'll say it's for whatever reason, but I know that stores can't survive if they're not making money. They're not making money because of the crime, okay? The crime, they let them steal. They cannot do anything about it, and they just walk out still. So the bottom line is all come down to dollars. It's not always racism, or they don't want to be in the, low-income neighborhoods. So that's what the question was about. Now, let's listen to it. And I'm telling you, they are all Democrats, but I'm just going to focus on Tishaura since she's running, and we're going to focus on Cara and what they say. Here we go.
First, I want to address a lie that was told earlier about the gun bill that was passed that led to a 15% decrease in youth violence that the chief said that this did, and that's totally false. So the passage of that gun bill did not lead to a 15% decrease in youth-involved violence. The work of the Office of Violence Prevention did, and the work of our Department and women in the SLMPD did. Second of all, with nuisance properties, our businesses do have due process, and we started an affirmative litigation unit in the city councilor's office to hold property owners accountable. But our businesses have due processes, because if we don't.
And see, this is what I don't understand. Now, across the board, they want to hold business owners accountable for the people that they can control with mental issues, just criminals, like they can only do so much. I don't know what she mean by holding them accountable. I know certain things you can do to deviate, and if they don't follow that, yes. But to just blanketly say, I'm going to hold them accountable, but at the same time, you're not holding these criminals accountable, or you're not doing anything to help them in health issues, because some of these people just don't belong on the street. We're going to get to the homelessness issue also when they're talking about, and they'll touch on that far as people just hanging around. But they want to just blanket blame the business owners. Now, I can see if you're a store and you selling paraphernalia, certain things that would draw that type of activity around your store, you should not be selling that. Yes, be held accountable. But just people who trying to do the right thing, or if something happens, I believe they even go on as far as to say, even if something happened, and don't quote me on this, that say somebody, get unalived or something on somebody's property, they will still hold the business owner accountable. And I don't think that's right. So that's all. That's it. That's all.
We'll open ourselves up to more litigation and more lawsuits. So there is a process that has to be followed in order to make sure that our businesses have due process. We will shut them down, as we have shut gas stations down during my administration, and we will continue to make sure that we use our affirmative litigation department to make sure that we're holding bad property owners accountable.
Okay, next question begins with Mr. Jones.
Now you hear during that whole question about crime and all that, she said nothing about holding criminals accountable. Nothing. That's that progressive stuff I'm talking about. It's too much. That was that. So yeah. So with that being said, now here in St. Louis, the state wants to take over the police department. But I ain't gonna worry about that. We're gonna move on with the video. So also, while we're talking about homeless, a little bit about Tishaura, because another thing that is an issue is homelessness. And she caught some heat last year because there is a homelessness issue. There's not enough beds. And what Miss Tishaura did was she decided to put a fence. She decided to put a fence around City Hall. And I'm going to show that to you. And we're going to go over this right quick. So, Miss Tishaura Jones decided that she wanted to put a fence around there. So, it's been over a year, and this was October 11, 2024 when they wrote this. It's been a year since the fence has been erected around City Hall and a neighboring Polka Park after the grass became a home to tenant homeless community. In a statement to KMOX, a spokesperson for the city said there is still no timeline to remove the fence around the city park. Now let's look what it say. Closed for restoration. They ain't doing nothing at that building. And I'm going to tell you why they did it. So last year they were fighting to, the aldermen had got together and they were fighting, trying to get the homelessness issue resolved and get some new legislation or bills passed. But her response was to it because they did it in protest. So all the unhoused people, they did it in protest. They went and got on the lawn and they tented up on the lawn. So it was a bunch of tents on City Hall's lawn. So what they did is put this up. But now it is like a big fence around, like it's a fence around it, and it still has that sign right there. So that's the backstory to why this fence got put up around City Hall. When I walk out, quote, when I walk out, the grass looks fine, says Alderman Rasheen Aldridge. I think it's time to bring the fences down. Alderman President Megan Green says it doesn't paint a good picture of St. Louis. the park, quote unquote, is not a muddy mess anymore. I think it's about time that we start looking and taking those fences down. Cara Spencer, which is who running against Tishaura right now, she's an alderwoman currently. Cara Spencer, who represents downtown and is running for mayor, took her response even further and quote, I don't think those fences should have gone up to begin with. So Alderman Aldridge says that he understands why the fences went up in the first place. On October 3rd of 2023, the city cleared a homeless encampment which had settled on the grass outside of City Hall and across the street at Parker Park. There were tents, there were things that made the grass not look nice, patches in the grass. Alderwoman Spencer says the fence gives off a bad perception. It's an awful message. I mean, it really just says that this isn't a welcome place. This is a people's place. It's the People's City Hall, and it belongs to the taxpayers. Aldermanic President Megan Green says the fencing gives off a bad perception. Agrees. Quote, she says, I have had a couple of visitors from out of town who've asked, what is the fence for? Green adds, I think it does kind of give the perception that the City Hall is closed off. In April, the city told KMOX there was an issue with the park that needed to be eradicated further in the fall. I come to City Hall pretty often. I haven't seen any restoration happening, said Alderman Rasheed Aldridge. They're literally doing nothing over there. She put that fence up because she did not want them having that image of them protesting on, and they're not even mentioning this, on her yard. And So KMOX has asked if the city could elaborate on their previous statement to explain what the work is currently or still need to be done and is waiting response. So yeah, that's it right there. They waiting a response, y'all. They are waiting a response. So yeah. In other news, we got a little backstory to Tishaura that I didn't even know. And this is, I believe, about her father. So Tishaura's father, I guess, was big time back in the day. Now, I'm new to this local politics, so I was kind of disenfranchised. You know, that's what the Democratic Party count on. Okay, now y'all can see it. Because I don't really want y'all to think I'm lying. You know? So, for 30 years, Vervis Jones has harbored a revenge fantasy against the St. Louis political establishment. This fantasy is manifest in the political career of his daughter, Tishaura. But fantasies aren't a basis for competent government. More and more, the city residents realize that. And then here's a little excerpt. I don't see any sources, so we just reading this off of X, okay? St. Louis Comptroller Vervis Jones in 1995 was sentenced to serve a year and a day in federal prison for cheating on his federal income taxes. Jones, father of current St. Louis Mayor Tishaura Jones, was one of several people indicted after the Democratic primary for comptroller in 1993. The indictment against Vervis Jones accused him of laundering campaign funds for a stalking horse candidate in the comptroller race to siphon votes away from a political rival. But yeah, so then we go around here. So I don't know what y'all think about that. Let me know in the comments. Also, if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe, okay? Let me get with it. So I don't want this video to be too long. Also, so we got Governor Kehoe because we still talking about crime now. Because that's my big thing. I don't got time for all that. So, somebody says Governor Kehoe's state control of the St. Louis police will not reduce crime. That's what they're saying. They're saying it will not reduce crime. I don't know. But let's see what she has to say. So apparently the state got control. The bill passed. This was on March 3rd. So earlier this month, state control of Missouri's urban police department is a win for unions and politicians and a loss for citizens. That's what they say. And then we're going to go somewhere else and see what somebody else is saying. Only in Missouri do state politicians think they are better suited to run the city police departments than local elected leaders. There is zero evidence to support that premise. Yet the Missouri House just voted to place the St. Louis Police Department back under state control, even though a hefty 64% of voters liberated it from those shackles in statewide vote 2012. Well, obviously, it wasn't a good idea if we trying to say something got better, because it haven't. All right. The House action pleased Governor Mike Kehoe, who took office in January, geared up for this particular fight. If the Senate cooperates on a bill, Kehoe will sign into law. The prospect bodes poorly for Kansas City, which holds the humiliating distinction of being the only major U.S. city whose police department is run by the state. Misery in this situation is not eager for company. Everyone knows a state seizure of the St. Louis Police Department would snuff out Kansas City's faint hope of gaining control over its own police force anytime soon. Why this push now is to double down on a form of police control that has roots in, here we go, that has roots in the Civil War era pro-slavery movements. State control reduces accountability, silences the voices of citizens, and creates the insular defensive police structure. Its outcomes cannot be defended, and one cannot ignore the optics of white Republican politicians many from rural areas, refusing to allow the state's largest cities, both led by Democratic black mayors, to control their own destiny because they are not doing a good job, okay? I don't know about Kansas City, but I do know about here. And I'm so sick of them always throwing this race into it. Your policies are trash, okay? Letting criminals out, trash. These woke judges, trash. I talked to police officers and I asked them, they won't help. Y'all won't support them. Trash. They ain't got nothing to do with you being black, and it got something to do with holding people accountable across the board. But no. In his state of the state ad address, Governor Kehoe said crime rates in St. Louis are unacceptable, and is suggesting that a return to state control of the police was just the ticket for turning things around. It isn't, and Kehoe knows it. Crime rates are indeed unacceptable in St. Louis and in Kansas City as well. That's been the case for decades, and state control hasn't moved the needle. What's this? 2025? And y'all got done this in 2012? So I'm confused is what you're saying. That's been the case for decades, and state control haven't moved the needle. Well, that's gone. That was a long time ago, and it's still terrible. So I don't know. If the governor really wants to reduce crime, he'll look at reforming Missouri gun laws, providing more mental health services around the state, and finding creative ways to promote safety. So you want the criminals to have guns, but the law-abiding citizens not to, so we can't protect ourselves because you keep letting criminals out. mental health services that you keep throwing money at, but won't fix the problem. Ooh. Another thing about Tishaura, this housing first thing, that's a whole nother issue with the mental health community. They just throwing them in houses, whatever. That's not what we're talking about right now. And find creative ways to promote safety. All these things can be true, including locking them up and keeping them there, getting these mental health citizens the help that they need. And some of them need permanent care. They cannot be out on their own. They are a danger to themselves and the community. In an interview, just after this first major speech, Kehoe revealed a more plausible explanation for his eagerness to have a state control. Quote, I believe we need somebody who's more sensitive to what the men and ladies in blue need in the St. Louis region, he told reporters from the St. Louis Public Radio. And I think a state control board can provide that. Chalk up another score for the police unions, which have steadily gained power in Missouri since 2012, vote favoring local state control. So now that looks like a woke reporter because she don't want us to be safe. But I know somebody who do. Now, Elliot Davis is a black man, right? I get so sick of these woke white women thinking they know what's best for our community. But Mr. Elliot Davis, he used to be a news reporter. I think he still is. I'm not sure. But he wrote, St. Louis City residents are better off having the state control the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. The move by state legislator to pass a law putting the St. Louis Police Department back under the state's control is getting closer and closer to becoming a reality. I, for one, believe that it would be the best deal for the city residents to have the state control it. Right now, many police officers have little confidence in Mayor Tishaura Jones' office or the Board of Aldermen. These people that's running for mayor right now. Both are pretty much controlled by progressives who haven't shown much love for the police and law enforcement. You'll recall how a lot of city officials once seemed ready to jump on the defund the police effort. In fact, Mayor Tishaura Jones made it a point to let people know that she was reducing the police budget years back. She wanted to bring more social workers on board. Now, I will say one thing about not social work. Well, I guess she was a social worker. I'm not saying you can add money and add them, but I don't think you should take it away because I experienced needing one of those because I know what mental health is. I recognized that something was happening. I called 911 and they sent one. Well, they also sent a police officer too, but they sent a social worker and they got him what he needed. And not like that because I'm also an advocate, for homelessness and things like that. So with that being said, but don't defund the police, you add resources. The Board of Aldermen also did nothing to come to the defense of law enforcement. They went right along with the mayor for the most part. In some ways, some of them were a little more vocal about defunding the police. As I said before, the St. Louis elected officials seem to feel that they'll get more political capital and votes showing sympathy for criminals, and then victims often get lost in the shuffle. This city is down about 400 officers, as many have left the force over the combined effects of the Kim Gardner years where law enforcement was under severe attack and as well as the defund the police movement. The legislative effort in Jefferson City to put the police department back under state control has indeed made strange bedfellows. The St. Louis Police Association is backing a state takeover. But so it is the Ethical Society of Police that represents African American officers. They're on board with the state takeover too. The Ethical Society of Police that represents African American officers, they're on board too. Because woke white women and men do not know what is best for the Black community and the danger we are in. It is certainly significant that the organization representing Black officers is also supporting the state control of the police department. Much of the time, two organizations haven't agreed on a lot, but both are in agreement on this, and both testify in the Jefferson City on the behalf of the state takeover. The plan will consist of having 4-member state boards that would serve alongside the mayor. State board members will be appointed by the government and confirmed by the state senate. Clearly, something dramatic needs to be done to restore the confidence in the crime-fighting effort in St. Louis City to make the streets safer. Most of the taxpayers don't blame the police officers, but do blame the elected officials for not giving police the resources to do the job most effectively, and they blame the elected leaders for not giving the police the public backing that they need to do a better job of protecting the citizens, because they all want to be famous. They all just want votes. They do it. It's terrible. And I'd be so upset when it become these Black, I don't know. It's too much. Like, I don't understand where this thinking come from. It is a Marxist, lawless society. Like, they want to live in they like communists. They lead head in there. Like, they don't, and I don't even think half of them know that they headed towards a Marxism. Like, that ideology is Marxist. So, where are we at? I remember not long ago when police bashing for anything, police bashing for any and everything was the order of the day. But that changed when the residents saw criminals taking over their neighborhoods and the bad guys operating with impunity. And they realized there simply weren't enough police officers because many had left. After crime got terrible, a lot of the police bashing by elected officials began to fade. But that's not because elected officials felt any different. But it was only because after so many homicides, brazen break-ins of businesses, and carjackings, citizens got fed up. There's no way city control of the police department will inspire confidence. Even proponents aren't expecting a dramatic drop in crime from all this, but they believe it will give citizens great confidence that the police have the needed support at the top. The state controlled the St. Louis police force for about 150 years before it was returned to local control back in 2012. Now there's a good change that control will move back to the state as the legislation moves through Missouri House and Senate, and that may just be the shot in the arm that the police officers need as they patrol the deadly streets of St. Louis. The Kansas City Police Department is also controlled by the state of Missouri. Yeah, let's see what's up with these comments. I agree. Arresting criminals will not do good if the city's prosecutor won't prosecute to the fullest. Yeah. We need help in St. Louis. Please, 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 if you know any city voters, tell them it's imperative they vote on April 8th. What? No. State MAGA Republicans are legislating a takeover of our police departments. Democrats are conceding. No. See, this is the shit I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be good. It's just terrible. See, this is how you know. He ain't pro-Black. He pro-Democrat. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Shit. Sick of their ass. I'm finna get out of there. They can trigger me. You know? Well, yeah. So, there you have it now. Cara gonna win this thing. So, I mean, unless, man, she gonna win. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Also follow me because I'm just starting a local politics thing, but we really like following like the federal and social things that's going on around, trying to get the people's minds right, get them out of them shackles. So that's what we want to do. Other than that, don't forget, come back, go check out some of my older videos. Let me know how I'm doing too on the progression. I like feedback. We friends, right? Come on, friend. So thank you. Like and subscribe. Good day.
Oh.